We need flourishing communities in the North. That's what's going to enhance our sovereignty and security in the North, is flourishing communities that people love. They latch on to Canada because Canada has been, a beacon of enabling them to maneuver with this. In my conversations with some of the Indigenous populations, and I can get pretty brusque. I'm a general, so stick with that. Where I'll say things like, I don't necessarily need the Arctic to defend Canada and North America. That's just not true. And some of the responses from the people in the North said, and if we don't like the way that Canada governs, maybe we'll look somewhere else for where our sovereignty lies. And Canadians should latch onto that a little bit. The Indigenous populations don't necessarily see the Canadian government and Canadian way of life any different than, and I hearken to say, maybe even Russia or some of the other, maybe the transactional relationship that they could get into with somebody else might be better for them in the long term. Even opening that conversation means that, okay, we've got a lot of work to do with respect to establishing that relationship that we need to have with our Indigenous populations. So if we could take a lesson from this crisis with the United States, we went from thinking that we had a friendship, alliance, a real relationship, multifaceted. There's all sorts of connective tissue between us and the Americans. And we're finding that to be very transactional now. The resounding silence from my thousands of friends south of the border that are not coming clean with, that's wrong, Scott, we're with you, like even privately. That's fascinating to me, right? Maybe we need to take that vision and look at the relationship that we have with our Indigenous and Northern populations and say, so have we been the Donald Trump of Canada for the last 60, 70 years? Oh, okay. And if we're going to be honest about that and the role of reconciliation in this, being honest with that and saying, okay, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy anymore. I want to be here. And I think of the things we could do for national sovereignty in that is approach things like that. And then development and defense and all the rest of those things, they'll flow out of that relationship. So the relationship has to be the most important thing here.
So we've been transactional in our dealings with the North more than relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.